Hello and welcome to Men of War Assault Squad commentaries. This is a primer for anybody who is interested in getting the game or to brush up on your skills. Today we'll be covering a few basic game elements such as resources, basic infantry movements, and considerations for your factions. Now, over here we have, for example, the default assault squad and the default regular squad for America. Now, what you want is to buy the assault squad for urban battles, as you get more SMGs than rifles. Now, that will be much better suited for urban battles as opposed to the regular squad, which only features 3 SMGs, 6 riflemen, and 1 bar. Now, this particular combo is much better for open plains such as this field, because the rifles are obviously more accurate, and the bar, with its high firepower and stopping power, it will rip through infantry very easily. And next, basic infantry tactics. Over here I've set up a little example of successful defense and unsuccessful defense. Now, take for example this 2-bar layout. So we have 2 machine guns on one sandbag, and if this was the invading force, the attacking force, now what you have here is that you have a wide front shooting at the same place, and what that'll mean is that bullets will be flying all over the place over this tiny little area, increasing the chance of hitting both of these guys. Now, if the attacker was concentrated in a small area and defenders had a wide defending area, what you'd see is more bullet dispersion. So say you wanted to, say these guys were trying to pin the defenders down here. Now, what they would have to do is put out, say, 3 bullets for this guy, 3 bullets for this guy, 3, 3, 3, and such, whereas if we were attacking this concentrated position, now all of these shots will be going to the same area. If we had a flanking party right here, there would be chance of bullets wasn't about hitting, a misfire could hit the other machine gunner and such. Now, whereas here, shots fired at this guy will obviously pass through. Shots fired at this guy may bounce off onto this one. And shots here, since there's cover, since there are these barrels here, no shots would reach him. Over here it's pretty much all cleared. There's some issue right here, but overall it's decent. Now, one of the things that you need to consider while playing the factions is that, what do the factions specialize, and how does the resource counter affect this? Now, for this particular game, I have set it on max CP and max MP, and what this means is that CP is control points. It's kind of like population Warcraft or Starcraft games. It is a measure of how many troops you can have on the battlefield at one time. So let's take the Hellcat, which costs 500 MP, that's the resource cost, and to keep it on the battlefield it would require 23 CP. Now, that means we can only field so many Hellcats at once, and that is dictated by our resources, and our control points. In a typical game, you would have 3,000 MP on the field at one time. Now, what that would mean is that, say this Hellcat costs since it costs 500. Now, that would mean you would be able to buy 6 of them, and you'd be perfectly fine. You'd be under the cap. I'm not sure if you would fit into the CP cap, but yeah. Anyways, so that's that. MP is a strict measure of how much you can have on the battlefield at one time. This is especially important for German and Commonwealth players, where your best units are late game. For Germans, Tigers, Panthers, Stugs, King Tigers, and all of that good stuff. Now, all of that costs extreme amounts of MP. So take the Pershing, for example. It costs 1.5k of MP, and in a ranked game or default game, you would only have 3,000 MP on the field per player at one time. So if you buy a Pershing, now you do get an amazing tank, although the trade-off is that you will only be able to use half of your resources for infantry and whatever else you need. So this is a good way of telling if people are hacking or not. I've seen some exploits, but personally I've never had a problem with direct hacking. Manipulation of resources and all that. If you run into anything fishy like that, I'd recommend posting it on the forums. The second thing is watching the counters, as the top number is the total in play, which means that MP unlocks over an amount of time. Since I've set the resource counter so high, this will just keep on growing until it reaches 500,000 or something. The bottom number is how much you actually have. Now, this can be a good way of calculating how efficient you are, how the opponent's I would use the word tech tree, but there really isn't one in the game. It's more or less about unlocking unlock timers, such as certain things, such as the Super Pershing, which is a hero unit. It takes 25 minutes to unlock. Right now we are at 18 minutes for that. How you can tell is that, say you're playing a standard game up to 3,000 MP. In general, I believe it takes 20 minutes to unlock, to go from 0 to 3,000. Now, so how this can help you calculate how far are you keeping keeping pace in game is that, say the counter hits 1,000. Now, you can calculate how much your enemies bought and how much you've bought yourselves. So let's say we've bought one regular infantry squad, which is 155 MP, so you know, that's very cheap. You still have over 700 left. Now 700 can get you say, let's go with a Hellcat. So now you're at 655, so you've got a little more than 300 left. Now you could go with a Lee, I guess, for that. So now you are maxed out for that particular period of time. So that's the game. That's how much you can have at that particular time. Now, how you can tell what your opponents may have is look at the costs for the tanks. Now, obviously you're not going to encounter jumbos, which are 1,000 units for a single unit, because the unlock timer never went there, never opened it, and secondly, the MP counter never struck it. If you eventually you'll get good enough to memorize some of the values, MP values, or in general, or remember the general values such as 300 for a light tank, 100 for basic infantry, 200 for tier 2 infantry, and 300 for elite infantry, and such. So you'll eventually get good at that. Once you remember that, it's just amount of thinking, let's say I lost a regular infantry squad at the beginning of the game, however my enemy lost a Sherman, so he must be down 45, he must be at least down 450 points from the max cap. Faction specific wise, Germany needs to keep a tight leash on their budget, and MP is replenished from two ways. It's replenished from obviously MP unlocking, as I've stated earlier, and it's also regurgitated back into your supply. So if you lose, say, a Jeep, which is 100 and some 110 for this case unit, you will recycle that back into your points pool. Now, it's a very slow process, but it gives you a little boost. Keep this in mind when you're taking out enemy tanks, because you're effectively boosting their momentary economy by a little bit. So you may be how should I say this? Underclassed for the moment. I'm not sure if hero units have a certain MP count. I don't believe they go into the MP pool, the recycling cycle. I think they are just stable. Once you lose them, they're lost forever. So Germany really needs to keep track of that. They bring out their Stug at 700 MP, and that's fairly expensive. That's almost 1/3 of your money. You got to record what you're gonna buy and plot your build order very specifically, along with the UK. Now, USA and Japan are early game rushing factions. They're kind of like NOD in CNC, where Americans they take the initiative with cheap infantry, with cheap tanks at the beginning of the game, and try to keep pressuring UK and German players to keep buying more. Now what that does is force them to spend their MP, and their units get killed because they're not, their early games units aren't as good as United States' troops. Now that'll just keep happening, and that's one of the common faults of many new players, is that they get beaten by Germany or the UK, and they try to play these factions without knowing that if you keep buying things, you're never going to unlock the higher tier tanks. As USSR is a bit of a specialty. It's a generalized faction. It's a all-rounder. It has good tanks, good TDs, decent infantry, I would say decent light vehicles, and yeah. This concludes our episode. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you would like to see more. I plan to do map analysis, such as for this map, and many 2v2s and 3v3s later on, probably starting within August, maybe, sorry, it's already August, what am I saying? Probably in September, maybe October at the latest. Thank you and good day.